Oh, yeah. And good morning, the Southern Fried Patriot morning show. It is Dave in the AM, aka the Cornbread Man, here at 6:05 Eastern Standard Time, May 29th. Hope you are doing well today. Looking forward to a very productive day. Hopefully, that's the goal every day, right? To be productive, to get things done, kick butt, take names. Hopefully, you may already be doing that. You may be coming to the completion of doing that. But we're glad to be here as we broadcast live from Studio A on the banks of the Southern Fried River that flows gently throughout the state of Georgia by Studio B in extreme southwest Georgia and empties in parts unknown in the great state of Florida. One of these days we'll have to research where that goes when we go south again and team up with Rob, the Chupacabra hunter. Well, it's good to be here. We had a good show last night. Appreciate all those who stopped by on the Rumble side and rated our channel and gave us follows, and we likewise to them. Appreciate that. If you don't have a Rumble channel, get one. You sure do need one because you just never know about what your channel may or may not do, and we use Rumble as a backup for that. That's a great platform. We're in their content creator program, and so we do a lot on Rumble. We have a new show that's going to be a Rumble-only exclusive called the Southern Fried Vent. That will start the second Wednesday of June from 9 to 10. We will start the Hump Day Views. We'll take a break near the end of that first hour, drop all streams but Rumble. We'll be in Rumble, and at some point we will go premium only. So this is something that we do within Rumble to drive traffic and also to drive support for Rumble and ourselves. If someone joins during that time, it's very reasonable. I think if you pay by the year, it's like $9 a month. It's a great platform. So anyway, join Rumble today, and we have been moving assets over to Rumble. We won't be leaving any of the others, but we do also have that as a base. So our backgrounds, music, such, we will be operating out of the Rumble studio. In fact, we're on Rumble Studio in most streams, and we stream out to many different platforms for all of our shows. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern is the Cornbread Nation show. We will find out where the redneck destination of the week is, who's the jacklegs of the week, fan mail, Southern Fried 5 at 5, the jokes of the week, all sorts of different things that we do within that show. And I promise very soon we will have a return of the Jeb and Bubba show. With the sickness of my wife, we had to pause a little bit longer than we'd like, but that will be recorded by the end of the weekend. We're hoping to hopefully have that done mostly by Friday or into Saturday. We will hopefully release that Sunday evening, Monday at the latest. So the Jeb and Bubba show, it is coming. It's not been forgotten. Jeb poking his head up over there behind me in the chair. We have new places they have gone, new people they're meeting, and yes, a return of Jeb and Georgia Bubba, not Uncle. Almost said Uncle Bubba. Georgia Bubba and Uncle Jeb on screen together at the same time. They've been appearing apart, just off screen, hollering at one another, posing one another in their stories. So some of the Jeb and Bubba show number 3 will be, it's only happened once, and that was for a promo. But now we will see them together in the Jeb and Bubba show. But hold on to your hat. New characters are coming as well, some point in the future, but not too distant future. There will be new characters. We know of at least 4 characters that will join the Jeb and Bubba as ongoing characters. They won't get as much screen time as Jeb and Bubba. They're the stars of the show, but they will get screen time. So looking forward to that. And the hijinks that happens in the Jeb and Bubba show. We have a lot of people that like, we have a lot of people in China that like the puppets. I'm sure mainly youngins who like that. But hey, we're all youngins, right? Hey, birthdays today. Danny Elfman turns 72 years old today. LaToya Jackson family. LaToya Jackson turns 68 years old today. Boy, do I feel old. Annette Bening is 67 years old today. They all got a few years on me. Actor Rupert Everett, 66 years old. Laverne Cox, 53, a little bit younger. That's getting more down in my area. I'm a little above that. I just turned 60. Raleigh Keough, 36. Who else today? Anthony Geary, remember him from General Hospital? 78 years old today. Singer Rebby Jackson, 75 years old today. Happy birthday to all these folks. Actor Ted Levine from Monk, The Songs of the Lamb, 68 today. Melissa Etheridge, 64 years old. She was very big back in the 80s and 90s. Not saying she's not today, but that was her peak time, I believe, if I remember right. Lisa Welch, remember her from The Facts of Life? 62 years old today. I knew we were very close in age because I was watching when I was a youngin'. My mom would always have it on. Noel Gallagher from Oasis, 58. And let's see here. Anybody else? Mark Lee, guitars for Third Day, 52. Melanie Brown, Scary Spice, 50 years old today. Happy birthday. And anybody else? Let's see. How about in history on this day? Patrick Henry was born on this day of May 29th. Bob Hope. Bob Hope, boy, he was on TV a lot when I was a youngin'. John Kennedy, 35th U.S. president, born today. Al Unser Sr., of course, Indy driver, born this day. And lastly, author G.K. Chesterton, author, born on this day. There's only 365 of them. So, there's a bunch of them that are born. Hey, good morning to you, the devilishly angelic one. Good morning. Quick hello for walking into work. Thank you. Enjoy your day, too. Thank you so much for the follow. I think we got everybody followed last night. Have a great work day wherever you work and whatever you do. Seize the day. Don't let anybody drag you down today. There are always those people who would like to drag you down, right? Hey, we appreciate you. Have a great and blessed day out there, and we'll see you online soon, hopefully. And we appreciate you stopping by and giving us a quick hello, and hello to you. Blessings upon you. On that note, pray for Pastor Jerry Barrett. Jerry Barrett, I've been keeping up with his wife's posts about his ongoing. He's a friend of the podcast, a friend of mine, and he's been back in the hospital. He's been battling some issues. He's a transplant. He's had a transplant, and sometimes, he got a virus that was trying to, was causing his body to try to reject the transplant. Anyway, he's had tremors, breathing problems, all sorts of things. They're doing all these tests on him. His wife, y'all pray for her. She sometimes couldn't even be in the same room with him. And he's a fine fellow. I don't know if he even feels like listening this morning. He does listen from the hospital bed sometimes. Jerry, if you're listening, God bless you, brother. We love you. Also pray for my granddaughter, Kaylee's. Saw a post this morning from her mama that her mom, so Kaylee's grandma, on that side of the family, they were asking for prayers for her. They showed a picture of her in the hospital bed. Not sure what's going on. Martha, remember Martha this morning? You know what? Life is precious, and it's great to have the days that we have. That's why I say you got to seize the day. You can't let people just take over your day because it's too precious. Don't let the jerks take it. Just talk to the hand, talk to the hand. Get away from me. I'm not letting you steal my joy and my thunder today. Some days are tough. I had a lady stopped me yesterday, asked about my wife, and I said, hey, she's at home recovering. And I was telling her a bit, and I said, hey, I pointed at her and I said, thanks for asking. They're such sweet people. I work with some great people, and they pray, and they pray for others, and I've been in those prayer circles before. Y'all also, sometimes he listens in the morning, but I know he's got to get his hours up. I need to watch some of his shows today to help him. But Brother James, from last night's Empty Pockets podcast, y'all pray for him. He's had some, he has these aches and pains, and he's trying to work, or he has to go back to work. I hate that. I hate that people have to. When you've worked your whole life, you think you can stay retired, and That happens a lot, folks, that you just keep working and working and working, and you push yourself and you do the best you can. And he's trying to build his shows up and his program. And I mean, there's days, I get it. I was tired this morning. I tried to get up for a 5 a.m. show. I pushed it to 5:30 in the middle of the night. I was like, I'm not going to make the 5. It reminds me of the scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He's trying to make his 6 o'clock flight. You're like, you're not going to make the 6. And then they had snow and all that. But yeah, I said, I'm not going to make the 5. It's going to be 5:30. So we do a show on the audio side through the week now called the Cornbread Man Morning Show. So it's a half hour on the audio sides, but we have fun with that. We do a lot of different kinds of shows. The MAGA report will be back. I have been I think really everything that's been going on. I've just been recovering my own rest and sleep, and I feel good. But with other shows we've been doing, I haven't done those, but that's going to come back. And I've just been tired. But I am covering those things from the MAGA report. And don't forget our MAGA Minutes do air out. I try to get those out as early as I can during the day. But we do have a Bible devotion that releases just about every day through the week. I try to do that every day. The MAGA Minute, which today's is 2 minutes. Sorry, a little long-winded, 2 minutes. And I've added something new in, conservative quotes from history. Yesterday's was Ronald Reagan's. Today's is Benjamin Franklin. And I love these. They're inspiring to me, and talking about, no matter where you're at. I love history. I love those folks and who, like these people who have served in government in capacities, whether president or the formation of our nation or whatever, and things they had to say. I love quotes. I'm a big fan of quotes, and they stick with you, kind of bite size, and they just impactful as you talk about America, and quotes are continuing to be came up with, and there's things that people say and it sticks with you, and sometimes you forget them and you go back and you read these and you're like, wow, that was so inspiring, and even though it was 200, 300 years ago, you're like, that applies today. And whether it's a limited government, the freedoms and liberty that we have, it just is refreshing to hear that, because the media today, there are great masses of people in our country today that try to make you feel bad that you're for freedom and you're somehow the problem. No, we like freedom, and it's not that we like everything that people do. Humans are failures a lot of times, and they make mistakes. But we know this. We know that this is a great country. It's not perfect. Lord knows none of us are perfect. But we know we know what's right and wrong, and we know we know that we are pro-family and freedom, the ability to worship or not worship. I'm a man of faith, but if you don't worship, that freedom, you have a right to do those things how you want. But that we are a Christian-based nation. Our laws, everything about our country is Bible-based. I'm sorry, if you come here, you have the freedom to worship however, or not worship, whatever you believe or don't believe in. But don't try to change our country into something that it's not. It wouldn't be right for me to go to another country and do that, although I would be ministering, and certainly we do that through missions. But we're not trying to change the basis of the country, and try to change hearts one at a time. And that's your outreach. That's your gospel outreach. And we should do that. And just to help people, I was inspired by James's story last night. And James is I don't think he would mind me saying that he's on he said himself that he is not, and I don't want to misquote him, but has never been a man of faith per se, although he has things he firmly believes in. But he has also said that people that he has been around in these last year or so, or 2 years, whatever it is, have really caused a thought provoking with him about his faith, or what would faith be, and who is God, and all those questions that people have. And I'm honored to be, I think, included in that. And I think it makes people feel good to be around people who are encouraging and pray for others and, have faith. There's so many people have nothing to grab hold of. They basically would say, I believe in myself. I'm not saying we shouldn't have confidence in all those things, but we have to believe in something greater than ourselves because we're such failures. But I enjoy being a light to those who need light. And Lord knows we all need that in our life. Think and pray for these people that are definitely people that need, they need some encouragement in their lives. This life is tough. It has its days that will rob you of all of your joy, take every bit of life out of you, drains you down, and you just don't even know if you can make it another day. You just so give out of the struggle and fight that it is sometimes. News can sometimes come in, bad news that is, can come in waves. And it's really hard to maintain your center. You feel like you're off course. You feel like the winds have blown you off course. You're trying to make it through this life, and all of a sudden you get hit by bad news after bad news. And Lord knows I've had those in my own life, where I think, wow, I feel like I have a dark cloud. I feel like that with the cartoon character with a dark, rainy cloud over them, storm clouds. I feel like that's been over my life for the last couple of months. But we're weathering the storms and we're coming through. We know in whom we have believed, and we know that we will get strength for the journey, and we know that we will overcome through our Lord. We know that. The future is set, the future is assured, and as certain as there is certainty in anything. And so we're just fighting the battles that we have. Being a believer is one of this great, and some people they'll say, I believe in energy or spirits, or there's some power that is controlling our lives or whatever. And all people groups have that same belief. Well, we know in whom we should be drawn to. But what I want to say is that the end of the story for a lot of things is already written. It's as if it's because it's so assured, it's like it's already occurred, and we're catching up to that. So it sort of seems like this time thing changes speeds, as we get closer. So we're just catching up. When you read the Bible and you're looking, sometimes the Bible is looking behind. Sometimes it's looking at the present day, and sometimes it's looking into thousands of years in the future, and that can all be within a few verses. And so it really challenges you to think about, where you've came from, where you are, and where you're going. I know where I'm going. I'm assured of that. And people don't have to believe in that. And I don't, it doesn't affect me when people say, well, I don't believe none of that, that doesn't have an effect on me because it doesn't, my faith or my beliefs are not based in other people. And that's a problem. And people place their beliefs in other people, that's always going to come up short because there's always going to be limitations to that. People's faith meters are very low sometimes. It's like your gas in your car. You leave it on empty, it's empty. So people's faith, their faith in what they believe in is very low. And that's a changing dynamic. Sometimes our faith feels like we could, top of the mountain and we could shout it. And other times we struggle through doubts. We don't doubt in whom we believe. We just let those worry and negative thoughts and things come to us. Of course, they're thrust upon us by the forces of the enemy, Satan, and it can cause us to and other things that can happen. The balances within our body, we can just get in a bad place mentally. We know that, and I think about dog tag out there on the Appalachian Trail, raising money for veteran causes to help these that have committing suicide, to help get resources out there to hopefully save one or two of those from not doing it. Get the accepted number of 22 a day, which is a lot more than that. We're assured of that. Sadly, it's not a number that we're brag about, believing that it's more. It's very sad. that is more. And when, a lot of people have been affected by that. But anyway, it's don't let people steal your day, and have fun with it. Hey, I was in our audio side this morning. I was talking about the use of these fiber optic drones that Russia is now using in Ukraine, and Ukrainians are trying to catch up. But these fiber optic drones, the jamming signals don't work on them because they're always connected to the quote unquote pilot of the drone, who is directing from a few miles away. They use, a small cord and these killer drones, because that's what they are. They're on the ground and they can slip into areas at 1 and 2 at a time. These operators, and they could be actually behind the front lines. Good morning, Jake. And they could fly these drones in. They fly a little lower to the ground. Some of them, they have to watch for the cable. Of course, it could get jammed or tangled rather. But these drones can just hover for a long time and look for its targets, and then deliver a deadly payload. And so it has slowed down troop rotations and other troop movements as people have to hide out. And there's not as much press coverage from the front lines, which there's not as much embedding of press into those lines, because the lines become unconventional. There's no line. They don't know where the line's at. It could be enemy combatants all around you, even though you think it's, a mile or 2 or 5 miles, one direction. There's smaller units that slip in. They use motorcycles and bikes, and they just slip in. And they use these. These drones can't go but a few miles, but if you get close enough, you can just wreak havoc. And these things can hover for hours, and the troops can be hiding out, or citizens, press, whoever. Troops trying to rotate back out and get rest and recovery, and break from the front and all that, to safe houses that are further behind the front lines. And so where troop rotations were every 3 to 7 days, have extended to 30, 60, 90, and even in some cases 120 days that these men are on the front lines, and sometimes going for days without sleep because of the buzz of drones in the area, massive waves of them. They can't go to sleep, because to go to sleep at any moment could leave you targeted. You could be spotted, and you could be in the last hours of your life and not even know it, because the drone knows exactly where you're at, and they're looking for a way to come deliver its payload to you. So this is what's happening on the battle lines between Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainians are trying to catch up, but their production is nowhere to the level that the Russians are, and it is an advantage on the battlefield. President Putin has said, thank you, Jake. President Putin has said, sources are reporting that he is saying he will go to peace, but he wants several things. This will never happen. He wants NATO to promise not to work in negotiations with any of the former Soviet republics. He wants Ukraine to be neutral. He wants all the sanctions lifted, and he wants those monies that were locked down, billions of dollars that was locked down by the Biden administration. He wants all those released. I don't see all those demands being met, so war will continue. So this is going to be an ongoing test for the president and his foreign diplomacy as the Russian-Ukraine war and the bloodshed continues. This bloodbath continues that the president talked about. Let me take a quick break and refill the coffee, and we'll continue with some news. Good morning to you. Have a great Thursday. We'll be right back. Won't be just a couple of minutes, and we'll continue on this morning with the Patriot Morning Show with Dave in the AM, a.k.a. the Cornbread Man. Remember, Patriot Mobile, promo code Cornbread. Make the switch today. Get your first month free. There'll be no phone charge. There'll be activation. There'll be taxes on that, but it'll save you some money on the front end. And their prices are better than just about anybody out there. Plus, it's a patriotic America First company, and they are great to work with. Their customer service is outstanding. and you can still use your T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T platforms. So, and they have a new referral program that you can refer people and gain money to save on your bill and or on a new phone. And I think that's $50 per referral, $50 per referral. So if you make the switch, go ahead and become a Patriot mobile customer, then you can start referring others. And so you, in essence, are, could if you referred enough, you could get your service free for doing that, or at least get some great discounts along the way. I love companies like this are always looking for ways to save you money, drive business, and that's what it's a business. Certainly, they're there to make money, but they're trying to help you along the way too, and give you an opportunity to save as well, and to bring more people on board. And yes, you'll be helping the Southern Fried Podcast as you go along. We're in their loyalty program, so if you join with the Cornbread, I love that. There'll be a percentage, a small percentage that comes to us every month and helps us keep the programming on the air, increase our abilities with new equipment, and just grow the podcast. So thank you for our listening to our commercials, and we try to keep those as limited as we can, but we appreciate that. Let me run one more here for Mammoth Nation, and we'll be right back. I'm going to refill the coffee cup. Won't be gone long, I promise. And thank you for your support and viewing this morning of Patriot, the Patriot Morning Show with Dave in the AM. Be right back. Hey, Southern Fried fans and your Cornbread Nation. Well, yeah, that's right. We're going to advertise for Mammoth Nation. To all proud Americans, we call attention to these thoughts. Are you tired of woke corporations that don't align with your values? I know we are. Look no further than Mammoth Nation, the ultimate destination for patriots like you and me, and Rob and everybody else, including old crazy Uncle Jeb, who believe in putting America first. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, we're proud to partner with Mammoth Nation because they share our unwavering commitment to faith, family, and yes, freedom. Just like us, Mammoth Nation believes in the power of the American spirit and the importance of preserving our great nation's heritage. When you join Mammoth Nation, you're not just getting access to amazing discounts on products and services. You're becoming a part of a community that stands against the forces trying to tear our country apart. From supporting veterans and first responders to promoting Christian values, Mammoth Nation is the go-to platform for conservatives who want to make their voices heard. So what are you waiting for? Join the Mammoth Nation movement today and start enjoying exclusive deals from businesses that share your America First values. Together, we can make America great again, one purchase at a time. Don't miss out on this opportunity to support a company that truly cares about our nation's future. Sign up for Mammoth Nation now and experience the difference of a community that puts America first. Use that QR code on the screen, folks, and that will take you right to the website where we also will be helped in your support of these values. We are customers of this great American company. Rob is a monthly supporter, and I am a lifetime member of Mammoth Nation. We're so appreciative of companies like this. Please be a supporter, not just for us, but for America. These companies need our support. We're patriots. Stand together with patriots. Take care, and God bless. And we're back this morning. Don't forget the Cornbread Nation show tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our scripted weekly program where we find out where the redneck destination of the week is. Our jacklegs of the week. Well, there's a lot of candidates for that. Our Southern Fried at 5. Rob's Fan Mail, among other things that we do. We look forward to this every week. It may be our favorite program. We love them all. But we laugh so much during that show, and we try to have humor. We really do. Prosky Bear, good morning to you, sir. Apologies if already discussed. Do you think the drone attack assassination of Temple Putin when he was in a helicopter really happened? I've been actually talking about, I didn't Well, on the morning, I do a audio morning show called the Cornbread Man Morning Show on audio sites before we go live here. I'm just something I just started, and I was talking about this intensification of the drone attacks, and both sides seem to agree that this happened. But here's my problem with this, and it's a great question, and I've been, unfortunately, because we're dealing with such liars. Let's face it. Does anybody trust the Ukrainian leadership to be truthful, or the Russians? I think it's interesting that they both admit it to some degree, but there's no details. They just have this vague description that Putin. I'm not saying they would give his itinerary. I'm not suggesting that at all. But they give this vague itinerary or description, rather, that he was traveling to the Kursk region. First of all, why would he be in a helicopter in that region anyway? Drone helicopters are not very mobile entities anyway. I mean, they're really, easy targets. We've seen so many helicopters shot down on the Russian side. The Ukrainians have been brutal. Absolutely, with the weapons that we've gave them, the HIMARS, different things we've gave them, they've absolutely been brutal to tanks and helicopters. There's even the even when the mercenaries turned on the Russians, there's a video out there. Some people said that attack never happened. There was a video that was released that showed them taking out helicopters. That the own Mercs that turned around and turned on the Russians. Why would you put your leader in that place? Yeah, they're both snakes, and their story seems fishy. And then they want to say that it was a massive drone attack of hundreds. I've heard numbers like 1,100 drones were sent into that area. Well, listen, I get it. If you had an opportunity, would you take it? I guess. I don't know. Going all the way back to the war between the states, there was that time when Abraham Lincoln went down to the front lines at D.C., and that was the last forward northern thrust of Southern troops. And it is said that there was a bullet that was put through the top hat of Lincoln. It was very tall, and he had that tall hat. It was a target, and a hole got shot in it. I don't know if that really happened. Who knows? I think that they do show that it did happen, but anyway, I don't trust these people, and the story it seems like one of those Peter Jennings. We came into Iraq in the middle of heavy artillery fire and gunfire, and landed and had to run for our lives. And Hillary Clinton said the same thing. You find out they didn't do that. They weren't under attack at that time. War story lies are as famous and as long as there has been wars. There's always been exaggerations and just flat out lies in the press and from others about what exactly happened in areas. So I just find it very odd that he would be in a copter traveling in that region. It doesn't seem to fit his MO. And a lot of people, it is believed that Putin has been sick for some time anyway. Pretty sick. Now, there's a site out there on Telegram that a year ago had this guy dying, that this guy's a stand-in, and really being Russian leadership is actually leading the nation. But you can go read their stuff. They said the guy had all sorts of ailments, AIDS even, and died. Now, I'm not saying he did, but the story just doesn't seem right. Empty pockets. There was a lot of propaganda on both sides, but Ukraine's version was obviously larger lies. Yeah, I just don't believe, James, that they had this idea of getting hundreds of drones. They're getting they did, get into the Kursk region, but let's be honest. They've been getting their butts kicked there for some time. The Russians have made it clear that they're going to get this region back. It was only been a few weeks ago that they had the pipeline that they walked all these miles. They had to walk hunched over, and it was a dangerous mission. They flanked the Ukrainians and had gunfire coming from both sides. It is said that the Ukrainians are losing towns every day, villages and towns. I don't think there's as much left in that region as there was. And Putin has been at a lot of Russian events, or someone that looks like him. And we don't know, do we? I think he's still him, but but he hasn't went shirtless for a while. He used to like to show his upper body off. I haven't seen him do that in quite a while. So he used to like to get up there and show his Hunter side, not Hunter Biden's side. Although, who knows? Could have that side, but that his hunter, like he's a hunter. He used to have the bow and arrows and guns and whatever else. He used to really like to do that. He's been there for quite a few years now, but I don't know what if anything happened in that attack, but that they're using that as the excuse of this escalation of war, the drone attacks to civilian areas and everything. Oh my God, they've been doing that anyway. They just sit more in. I don't believe that part of it at all. What I do believe is that there is the possibility that Russia's just, because their method of war is to just batter you into submission. Batter you. I mean, they surround towns and they just unload and unload and unload until there's nothing left. And when you move out, because there's nothing to hide behind or in, they take it over. I mean, it's their method of war. So, they're softening up, and of course, to make these soldiers feel bad. That's an old war tactic, sadly, that you hit the civilian areas. I mean, even way back in the war between the states, there were letters that got through. Their families begging the soldiers to come home. They're starving. There's, bad things going on. It's really hard to keep, energized into a war as it goes along. This war is going into its fourth summer. I mean, what the heck? I mean, I just think that if there is an agreement coming for peace, if, I say a big if, he's going to take all he can while he can. Sure. So they may have escalated for that reason as well. James says, my opinion on Putin, his ability to do shock and awe in Ukraine, especially with China, North Korea's help. Well, yes. And I've said recently on a show, it might have even been Monday or Tuesday, the people that think that, Russia has been stalemated and that they can't do any more outside of nuclear weapons is false. And they absolutely have the ability to do annihilation in lots of ways. They own the skies. I've not seen the bombers running over Kyiv or any other city and dropping massive amounts of bombs on it. But they could. They could. The Ukrainian does it. They don't have it. They've got they've got the surface-to-air missiles. They don't. Well, they got a few helicopters and some dilapidated planes. I mean, it's like it's like the guy Charlie and 5 o'clock Charlie and MASH, right? The plane barely sputtering along. That's the Ukrainian Air Force. I mean, I'm serious. They don't have no Air Force. And say, Brodsky Bear, if you're a Russian soldier, what's your motivation at this point? Not a lot other than those that just like the war. It would be the bullet to the head. Honestly, that's your motivation. They just the threat that they'll kill you or your family. I mean, they don't want to be there. A lot of them, Russian young men, avoided the war. They left the country before they locked the borders down. I'm sure there's a lot of desertion. I mean, man, they're putting injured soldiers back in. I mean, those on crutches and stuff. It's like, oh, you're good to go. Let's go. Because they do have a manpower problem. They do. And that's why they're bringing in North Koreans. They're getting their butts kicked. They've lost thousands of soldiers in that. Empty pockets. Ukrainians run out of soldiers. Yes, they're putting old men and also women in the front lines. Yeah, they're grabbing those off the street at the end of guns or just strong-arming them into vans, giving them a gun, a little bit of training, and sending them to the front lines. There's gaps within the lines. They've not. That's why the Kursk region was even that whole operation was to try to pull away Russian soldiers and resources from those lines because they realized they couldn't hold them, and they've been retreating a little bit every day. To be honest, the Russian advance is slowly. It's village by village, street by street, area by area, but they're making advances slowly each day. He also says Russia's like China, Korea. The whole country is based on military preparedness. Well, yeah, a lot of truth. Death toll on each side. It's hard to get a good gauge on it because, again, they overinflate or underinflate numbers. It's safe to say now. I seen some numbers yesterday on the BBC, and they're certainly not a conservative site, and they believe that the Russians have lost through death or injury well over 900,000 troops, and possibly into slightly over, like up to 1.2 million troops. The Ukrainians have not lost that many, but they didn't have as many as lose. I mean, so 100, two or 300,000 is, I think, around that 300 something thousand is an acceptable number that most people feel comfortable with. It could be higher. They have also paid foreign men to come and fight. People that are very poor. There's even people came from some South American countries who are very poor. They pay them $400 a month, but these people are coming out of poverty, and they do it strictly for the money. And a lot of them have died. So the toll is heavy, but Russia can just continue to put people there. And let me say this: all those kids they stole out of Ukraine, some say 20,000, some say a lot more. I mean, over 100,000 of them. How many of them were young men that in 2 or 3 years have now developed into fighting age? And they put a gun in their hand and said, we're sending you back in the front lines. You're going to fight against them. I really think that's a possibility as well. They're training up their own army from Ukrainian children. And honestly, I don't mean it in a bad way, but let's be honest, to breed more. These kids have been given over to Russian families to raise. They're going to be brainwashed, the Russian way, and to hate the Ukrainians, especially the younger ones. So they'll be developing their own replacement forces through some of that. Good morning, Celtic Blacksmith. He says, I'm still hoping for a double knockout between Russia and Ukraine. Both governments are crooked as the day is long. Amen. And amen to that. That is absolutely true. They're both sorry. They're no good. Roski Bear, I wonder how many mercs from countries in Europe are fighting on Ukraine's side. I would say a lot. In early stages of the war, I remember a lot of former American soldiers went and fought. That didn't work out too good, and some of them died. A lot of them got out. They didn't like their treatment. They didn't like how things were happening for them. I think they also they thought they were fighting for, like a freedom fighter for Ukraine. And I think they saw some things they didn't like on the front lines that turned their stomach, and they're like, I'm checking out. This is not what I signed up for. So I think all of that comes into play. Empty pockets. I think Zelensky, if he was decent, should do a national vote to give the people a choice. He's a dictator. He's put aside elections. I can't stand the guy. I don't like Putin. I can't stand him either. But he's no better. And there are many reports that he has attacked the faith part of the country. They've arrested faith leaders. They've tried to basically stamp out religion in areas. So sometimes the people of faith are not only worried about Russians and what they're doing coming into their town, they're worried about Ukrainian soldiers under directives of the government out of control. That has occurred. I mean, these people are no good. I mean, they're just absolutely no good. And that's if he was decent. I think that it has been offered before for him to take the ride that they've done with these dictators before. And I still think it may happen. This guy will have to have a security force around him the rest of his life. But if there's going to be a deal, I've always said Zelensky's going to be part of that deal. He's going to go. Russia is not going to back off until Zelensky's out. He will be given the Riviera house, somewhere. He'll have money the rest of his life. He'll have a security force. The Russians have never caught off the Chechnyan killers that were dispatched to kill him, and that will never change. The Russians those Chechens will always be looking for him to kill him, and he knows that. They've been hiding him out even in country. They bounce him around. They slip in. Of course, I mean, they're not easy. They're not hard to spot. I mean, look at them. The Chechens, they got the beard, and they've got that killer look. I mean, that's what they are. But they're death squads, and they're looking for Zelensky to kill him. Does Ukraine still hold a front in Russia? It's shrunk, but still have some in Kursk region. they're still there, and that's the region that they supposedly attacked Putin's helicopter. And I'm like, I just don't know if I buy that story, but it's not much. They've lost a lot of region of that region back to the Russians, and they're losing more every day. Zelensky's military is literally ran by a Nazi faction of their government. They're brutal. The Ukrainian people there's some great folks, but many of them, and we know some, but you're right. There's again, when some of those border towns, when the Russians were coming, this ought to tell you something. And you remember this, and it happens even till today. A lot of them are Russian speaking, and they welcome the Russians coming over. And it's controversial. There were mayors that turned over the keys to the city of the Russians when they showed up. They were glad to be out from under the thumb of the Ukrainians. That ought to tell you something. That these people would vote en masse to be under Russian control. They don't like the Ukrainian government. They can't stand it. So that says a lot to me right there. So there's not in some of these cities, yes, certainly there's fear because they're brutalities of war. I mean, it's horrible. We don't even have to say it. It's known what happens. But in some cases, they rolled out the red carpet and said, it's all like a hero's welcome. The Russians are here. The Russians are here. Drive the Ukrainians out. So yeah, you're right, James, and you mentioned that last night. There's people from the West don't really. Mostly, there are people that have studied it or from there. They understand. There's a lot of people that don't really understand the brutality of that region, and it's just different. It's just different. I remember way back, and I've said this, there used to be a site you could go to, and I don't ever want to see it again. A guy showed it to me, and they post videos from around the world. And one of them that I'll never forget this, I will never forget this, was it was the Russians fighting, and it might have been Ukrainians. As I think back, I think it was Ukrainian. But anyway, let's just say they decapitated a soldier they had captured. And they showed me that, and it just made me sick. And we know it goes on, and I was like, oh, I never want to see that again. That's horrible. So yeah, James says, I knew Zelensky was bad when they banned the people from speaking Russian. Yeah. This guy, and there are those, and even in Ukraine, recently there was one of the, there was basically a hit put on. There was one of the former leaders was killed here recently in the last week or so. There were celebrations in Ukraine about that. Celebrations. It just tells you what the people have been dealing with and what they're still dealing with. I mean, they're sick of this whole thing. They're sick of what they wanted to be very westernized. They wanted this. They see what happens across here, across the sea. They see what happens around the world and what they have, and they just want a life like that. They want to have those things, but unfortunately they've got a government that's crooked and wicked and evil, and they're stuck with it. I mean, what do you do? That's why we're. Sounds like I was describing America under the Joe Biden years, right? I mean, that's they had to be thinking, don't become like us. I've heard people from around the world say that to Americans, like, don't let it happen to you what has happened to us. Don't. These people are not your friends. Do not let this ideology get in your country. I mean, for goodness sakes, we'd love to come there one day. We love what you have, but we're the last hope on the face of the planet, honestly. We are. Every other place has fallen to the type of crap that we're talking about. Empty pockets. Remember, Ukraine was the core source of the fake Russian dossier. Yes. Oh yeah, they were lying and manipulating. If you watch, hey, by the way, it ought to be criminal to elect a guy, Zelensky, If you watch any of his videos, I don't want that guy around me. Let's just say most guys can't shake their hips like that guy can. Truth, if you've seen those videos, you know what I'm talking about. Brodsky Bear always wonder if there's communication between Zelensky and Netanyahu, considering they're both from the same religion. Is Netanyahu giving Zelensky bad advice? Interesting question. Interesting question. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to really think on that, but who's to say? That's a very deep question there, man. A very deep question. Kudos to you. Made me think this morning because we do know there are those elements that are out there, and they've used their connections and other things, as we know, to influence and or control, blackmail. You get the whole gamut of that, and that's an interesting question, man. I'll put some thought into that. James just says it straight. Those videos are like, dude. I mean, I people talk, actor. Let me just say, he wasn't acting. Hello, Big Oak Financial Services. Join on Instagram side. Hope you're doing well today, and everybody else that may be watching. Remember, this is Thursday. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Rob doesn't do morning show. I try to do them often. I do miss. I didn't do Tuesdays morning. I was just wore out, but I try to do those. I try to have a morning show every day. That's our plan. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That wasn't vaudeville. That was real life. And I think when President Trump was sitting beside him, I think he was thinking about some of that too. He's a good actor. He's acting like a dictator. Oh, he sure is. I've said it 100 times. I'll continue to say it. One of the things that really made me mad about him before I even knew anything about it, I just don't like these leaders that think they got to have the military clothing on. It never played well with me. Dude, stop. And when he came to America and he walked in with his little green garb on and his combat boots and whatever else he had on, it really ticked me off. And people in America were defending him. Well, he's at war. I mean, what do you expect him to have a three-piece suit? Yeah, I do. He's the leader, dictator, whatever you want to say of the country. I mean, even the CCP, they put on a suit, right? If anybody was going to do it, you'd think they would. I always thought that image he was trying to promote for the world was a joke. And if you want to do that over there in Ukraine in your bunker, have at it, bro. But don't come to America like that. Have a suit of clothes you change into. When you hit America, you better be dressed, buddy. Especially when you get, maybe you ride to the hotel room, you got you walk in with your little jackboot outfit on. But when they pick you up to bring you to the White House, change clothes. Dress up. Comb your hair and all that stuff. Take a shower. Don't act like you're all sweaty, like you came off the front lines, like you've been out there fighting. Just stop. I just can't stand that guy. I really can't. I don't normally. I mean, we just usually call people what they are. This guy just irks me every time I see him. I can't even stand listening to him. James says he was visiting the safest country in the Western Hemisphere, and he was dressed to lead the Nazi to victory. That's what I'm saying, man. This guy, I mean, who comes in like that? And why did they let him do that? I tell dude, no. You meet him at the car, the representatives, the staff, they say, excuse me, sir, where's your suit? We can go down the street. There's a little man's shop down the street. Here, we'll buy it. But you're changing clothes, brother. You're not walking in front of the cameras to see the president dressed like that. If you don't like that, you can get back on your plane and head head back to your country. I just can't believe they allowed that. Address Congress, come in with go in the Oval Office with these, and there's been a couple of times where he has put a suit on, but mainly he's got this, he's got that little man look, as he tries to tall. I'm sure that he's got platform shoes on. I mean, I bet he likes those platform shoes that Kiss, the rock group Kiss, had. I bet he likes those because it make him look so much taller. Listen, I'm not picking on people that are not tall. My wife's not tall, but this guy is a small man, and I don't mean in stature, in his head. He's small. I can't stand that guy, and he has drug us to the brink of war with Russia. Let's be honest. We're where we are. Him and Joe Biden, the disasters of our day. They're masters of destroying. They've taken us to a potential war with Russia. I mean, we're absolutely in danger here. Truth. Oh, you imagine. I wonder if he made when he was in D.C. after he got kicked out. I wonder if he made the rounds. To certain establishments, shaking his little. There's that other video of the guy that was over the World Health Organization. He's another one. You ever remember seeing that video? Him shaking his booty out there and that little. This guy's another loser, man. I can't think of that guy's name. What a loser. Empty pockets. I think the Democrats he met with before he met with President Trump gave some bad advice. Probably said it would be a good look when he starts demanding things of Trump. Yeah, it was obvious he had been coached. Of that scene was set up, and he got dressed down like nobody's ever been dressed down in front of cameras in that setting, and he didn't know how to handle that. He did. He had never been talked to like that in his life, I think, and you could tell it hit him like a ton of bricks. And boy, did the story change after he left. He started making the rounds, trying to say what was misunderstanding, all that. No, you got dressed out, man. You come in and talk to the Godfather, and you found out you weren't in control. Did you hear that, Brosky Bear? Recent common interview in Australia. I couldn't understand half of what she was saying. She sounded to look drunk. Well, I only saw a clip, and yeah, it was incoherent. And she's been known to. She's been known for some time, and Pelosi as well, to get pretty toasted, But I didn't see it. I need to go back and watch that interview since you brought that up. I have seen a couple things, but I've never been able to understand her. Well, there is the possibility. There is the possibility. For all the things that DeSantis has been able to accomplish in Florida, the problem with him as a candidate was exactly that. He looked too programmed, robotic. The presentation was not it didn't flow. And he couldn't understand why he was not, they just didn't fall all over him. But his rallies didn't go well as he got outside of Florida. That's why his campaign shot down in flames. He had no backing. Money dried up, and he had nowhere to go. And I think his only hope is, too stiff, not smooth. Yeah, it has that Ken look, like an actual Ken doll. I mean, he just moves very robotically stiff. He just doesn't have it doesn't look comfortable. It looks like it's programmed and like it's a struggle for him to connect with people. He doesn't connect well. Donald Trump connects with people. whether people like him or not, he connects, and that drives the left crazy. He goes into very inner city areas, walks in a shop, and he connects with people right off the bat. They hate that. Joe Biden couldn't connect with people either, and a lot of times Dems don't anyway. But he definitely is. That's a problem for him. His only hope, I think, is to be on a ticket. There's a lot of people said, would him and JD run together? I kind of doubt it, but I could see some kind of ticket like that. He's not going to be the main candidate, though. I just don't see that happening. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. The Senate isn't going to speaker as JD Vance. Not even close. That's true. The Senate is great for Florida, though, and that's where he should stay as long as he can. Of course, I think he's termed out, right? I think he has to move on. That governorship is up, so he's got to do something. I don't think he can run there again. Georgia, Florida, Alabama. By the way, the old ball coach is just announced. There's some talk about it for some weeks, but the old ball coach from Auburn is going to be running. He was a senator. He's going to be Tuberville. He's going to be running for governor of Florida. Alabama. Got Florida in my head. Trump is making deportations great again. Yes. And they're looking for any way they can to keep those deportations up. Fighting the courts. The courts are the main problem right now. They don't just hate it. They are scared of it. Yeah. What do y'all think? And I have just a few moments left before I got to go to work, but what do y'all think about the midterms? I see some problems because there's really top battles in some state levels, and there's a lot of money being poured into some of those midterm things. That's really the focus right now. I would like to see some things cleaned up well before the midterms hit, but do y'all see some potential problems out there? There's always those close states like Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, where it's seemingly back and forth. We've lost ground in Georgia, but I just wondered if what you think about it. This coming year, we'll have Vivek as our next governor of the great state of Ohio. Hey! I came a long way on him. A long way. He impressed me with some of the stuff that he was able to say. Tight, but too soon to circle the wagons. Yeah, I get it. That's the hope of the Dems right now, is to win enough in the midterms to stifle Donald Trump's ambitions for the full term. That's really their whole basis. They have no great candidates for 4 years from now. They've mentioned a couple, but they've got nobody right now. It seems as though they're going to back Shapiro or Jeffrey, what's his name? Hakeem Jeffries. They're looking for their next, Obama or something like that. They're struggling to find candidates. I mean, could it be AOC? Do you think AOC can run for president? Steve? It depends if the U.S. attacks any country before midterms. Steve, Vivek had me at, we need to dismantle the ATF. Great point. I like the guy. I really do. I came a long way on him. I didn't know much about him. I was a little bit worried about that, but he really, he smoked a lot of people in those debates. I mean, they didn't know how to handle that guy. And when he brought out the flamethrowers, when he Steve, give me a second. He brought up the flamethrowers when he was on that debate stage. I mean, he ripped Christie. That it was like a blimp coming down from the Goodyear blimp being deflated and falling to the ground. I probably shouldn't have said it that way, but I don't know. But ALC can run from. Oh, I like that. Vivek suggested invading Mexico and Cuba, getting our neighbors in line. It's about time. Yes, yes, I have said hit those cartels. One last question: do y'all think that there's any truth that president's throwing out there that Canada possibly could become the 51st state, or is that just show stuff? That's just throwing people off again, because some people are really talking about that right now. It would be the best thing for this state in a long time. We have rhinos in charge here. Yeah, you got disappearing cats. I mean, you got some problems, man. We got to get Ohio straightened out. James says no, not going to happen. No 51st state. Oh, I don't think it's going to happen either. They continue to throw that out there, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. But you bring up a good point, and I've said this too. Alberta wants to join the U.S., but that's it. I haven't heard much about Greenland. Yeah, that story died as well. That was I'm glad you brought that up, because I've wondered, because we got some areas of states that want to basically secede. Colorado, Oregon. There's even a section of California. They do not want those representation they have in the state to be their representatives anymore. They're trying to carve out, in one case, join Idaho. In other case, just make a new state. I don't know, but could possibly a group, an area like that. I don't know if it's allowed in the Constitution or whatever, but could they join the United States? That's an interesting thought. He wants to include Canada in the Golden Doom. Yeah, he does. He said you can pay the money or get it for free. Yeah, I really, the Greenland thing, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's funny how that just died on the vine really fast. I actually thought that, not that they would become a state, but I thought that we would just really go up there and expand things very quickly. Hasn't happened to this point, but that story has gone down to nothing. You don't see anything about that on the news cycles anymore. No talk from the president about it. Anybody in the administration, it just died out. Interesting. I do think within the next 30 to 60 days, there's going to be some pretty significant movement. Oh, and did you see our old boy Bongino says they're investigating the origins of COVID, because there's a new strain out there that has, caused a lot of problems. So if Alberta succeeds, that would make them up there Canaan. Could be. They could call it Donald Land. To all of our Canadian friends, we do have some that watch from Canada. They're conservative, and we love you up there in the great northern regions. Keep the faith up there. I'm trying to figure that out at first, Steve. The Bongino. It's like a fart. He's dead to me. There's a lot of people mad with Bongino and Patel. We talked about this last night for a few minutes on the show. The forced press interview about, he obviously was a suicide. That's all. I know suicides, and that's obviously. I mean, who could question it? It's a suicide. Stupid. COVID was created in a lab in North Carolina, either Duke or UNC. I forget which lab. It was created under the Obama administration, supposedly. Interesting. Him and Cash are, yeah. You got to throw the other one out there. The new strain attacks the respiratory system directly. Hey, there's a church in my region. I told my church this Sunday. I don't know if it was this strain, but I think it probably was. They shut down for the day. Everybody was sick. Older group, older crowd. So yeah, because they lied. Yeah, they sure did. Cash is a Hindu. I don't like that. I can't wait till the Rumble Vent show. I cannot wait. you guys got to line up. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun. That vent's going to be fun. We're just going to let it go. What's your vent? And we're going to have no shortage of vents. It's going to be from everything from politics to life to your job or whatever. I can't wait for that show. Second Wednesday in June. That second hour of Hump Day Views becomes the Southern Fried Vent. I'm looking forward to that. Bongino on his podcast, don't blindly trust the government. Amen. They say the new COVID hit the American shores about a month ago. It's been on the rise. You've been hearing a lot about it. That's not great. Bongino in the government. Oh, come on, trust me. I'm the government. I wouldn't lie to you. That exactly, dude. That whole thing was like, man, you would, when you were on your show, you would not have trusted that. He would have ripped that interview apart as a podcaster and a person in media. He would have ripped that apart. Oh, no, not the new flu. Would have ripped that interview apart. You're absolutely correct. But they come out there, oh, yeah, we agree. We've seen the reports. We've seen the evidence. It was obviously, come on. I know a suicide when I see it. All the evidence. Yeah, it was suicide. Don't question it. Like, really? That's what you rolled out to say? Where's the perp walks, dudes? Where's the arrest? Where's the people that went against the country and the treason and all that? That's what you're going to roll out to announce? We thought you actually were going to roll out and announce something that we could use. But no, they roll out to announce that obviously that silly us, we thought there was a possibility that it might actually be something else. No, don't worry. We got you, Americans. Come on, man. Just go back. And here's the last question I got. And I know they're trying to keep your show alive with his wife and everything. If he blows this, can he go back and have a successful show? I question it. It looked like a Clinton suicide. Yeah. And you brought up some great points last night on that, James. Great points. But can he go back and be successful as a podcaster, as he was? If he don't do something quick, you talked about they're dead to me. He's losing his audience fast. He better have a lot in the bank. I'm telling you, he messed up. He is messed up. There's 120 days in or whatever it is. He's messed up. James says no. I get it, brother. What is he doing to himself? I tune into his new podcast every day just to tell him he's a lying suck of you know what. Well, that's putting it as straight and as blunt as you can right there, brother. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think he can't have a call-in show. I'm telling you, he messed up. He better take some action real quick, or these two are going to look like the brothers Buffoon and nobody's Daddy Bonbons. You're not going to be the lead dog. Joe Rogan would be more listened to on conservative things than he would. That's truth. Right now, he would. That's all right. We'll just let James can take his place. Steve and others, get out there and lay it down. All right, I got to get off here. I got to go to work too. I'm sure some of y'all do as well. Say lost our credibility right now. They need to redeem themselves. Yes, that's true. We'll see you tonight for the Cornbread Nation show. If you can join in, join Steve on his Half Pint Forge Live. He's been beating steel a lot lately. He's really firing that forge up. I hear Robert so much, it's hard for me not to say the easy bake. I'm sorry, man. The forge, he fired up the forge a lot. And James over at the Empty Pockets podcast, always on or on somebody's show. Y'all give him a follow and follow these guys today and or this evening or whenever. And we thank you for your support of the Southern Fried Podcast. Everybody have a great day out there. I'm going to get off and go to work, try to get some things done, be productive as a human being today and as an employee and try to do my part as a patriot. And we appreciate all you fellows and ladies and whoever else is listening. You're all a blessing to us. And I'm honored to count you among my friends. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Me and Rob, this has been a great year. We're going to celebrate that Friday night. Y'all all come up. You all got invites to come up. You can be on video, not on video. It doesn't matter. Come up Friday night and celebrate. If it's just for 5 minutes, come up and celebrate our birthday. We really want to give you some airtime. We're not trying to look for a pat on the back. We just want to celebrate with you as friends. And a year ago, we didn't know none of you. And we're, except for the ones that live around we are that know us, we didn't know none of you guys. And it's a blessing. And we're looking forward to that. So if you have time, some of you may be streaming. I get that. But if you have time, stop by. We'd love to see you. And we'll see you tonight. Take care. God bless.